Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to Man Cave Meals. Today I'm going to take you on a walk around demo tour of the new Lone Star Grillz 20x42 Pellet Smoker. So let's have a look. I'm going to kick off here just by giving you an overall view of this thing. It's a really formidable grill. It's a nice size grill. I'm going to stand beside it here so you can get some perspective on the size of this. This is the 20x42 model, and we'll talk about some grill dimensions here in just a second. When you open the main door on this grill, you're presented with two really nice size cooking racks. The bottom rack, or the main rack here, is 35.5 inches wide by 20.5 inches deep. The top rack, or the secondary rack, is also 35.5 inches wide, and it rings in at 15.5 inches deep front to back. These cooking racks are the base model cooking racks that come with this grill. They're really heavy duty, expanded metal, and I have already gone through the seasoning process on this grill, so these are well seasoned and ready to cook. Underneath the cooking racks, we have a really heavy duty heat shield that's a two-piece heat shield. This heat shield slants to the left where it drains off into the grease trap that I'm going to show you in a little bit more detail. But we have a two-piece system here where we can slide this open, and it opens up some holes where we can have access to the direct fire underneath the firebox if we want to do some direct grilling or searing over that flame. Underneath the heat shield on the right side, we have the firebox where the actual fire occurs down here, and the auger is right here. And this auger pushes pellets out, and they drop down behind this shield, slide down through this ramp into the fire pot, and that design completely eliminates the possibility of ever having any kind of auger fire. The fire will never be able to back up into your auger tube in this smoker. The auger design in this smoker is also unique to any others I've ever had. You can't see it from this angle, but I'm going to pop a photo up here on the screen to show you how this design looks. This auger is hollow in the center, which allows it to feed any kind of pellets, any size of pellets. You never run into a problem or a concern with an auger jam with this design. This design is also set up to where you can mix small wood chips with your pellets to produce additional smoke. Lone Star provides pellets that are, they provide wood chips that are set up to be the proper size for this application. In the right rear corner of the cooking chamber, just above the auger tube, we have the temperature sensor here that hooks up to our fireboard controller, which I'm going to show you a little bit more momentarily. The pellet hopper on this smoker holds a very generous 40 pounds of pellets. It's got a capacity for about any length of cook you might ever want to do on a pellet smoker of this nature. Lone Star Grillz also provides an optional logo plate for you when you purchase these grills. You can have one of these designed with your own logo or whatever kind of content you would like to have on that. Underneath the heat shield on the left side of the grill, we have a wall here, and to the left of that wall is our grease trap. All of the grease that drips onto the heat shield flows downhill to this side of the grill into this grease trap. This grill comes with a 1 1/4 inch black iron cap for that grease trap, and you can optionally get a 1 1/4 inch ball valve to go on that if you want to have a play with different ways of collecting grease drippings from this grill. You have a lot of different options there. The area underneath the door here also comes with a pre-installed gasket to make that airtight. And the lid on the pellet hopper also has a gasket. On the left side of the grill, we have the smokestack, the smoke exhaust port, and it also has a rain cap to keep rain out of that. And this is the only piece that has to be installed on this grill once you receive it. Everything else on this grill comes pre-assembled. There are 4 washers that you have to thread onto the bolts to hold this guy in place, and that's the only assembly. And here momentarily I'm going to show you some pictures of how this grill arrives in its shipping crate. This grill comes with a folding front shelf. The dimensions on this shelf are 40 inches wide and 10 inches front to back, and this shelf simply folds down by lifting it up and letting it hang. Underneath the grill you have a very formidable and well-built storage shelf to store whatever accessories, tools, pellets, or whatever you might have. The base configuration of this grill also comes with 4 industrial grade 5-inch casters, and the casters over on the left side of the grill turn so you can steer this grill as you might want to move it around. Underneath the right side of the cooking chamber is the housing for the fire pot, and there are 2 latches, one just like this on each side, that you can unfasten. And once they are unfastened, you can reach in here and just slide this fire pot out to empty your ash from the fire pot. On the back side of the pellet hopper there is a dump tube. You can pull this tab out, dump the contents of your pellet hopper, and reload with a different kind of pellet at any time you like. The smokestack port on this grill is low in the grill, which in my experience with pellet grills, that helps keep smoke in the cooking chamber for better time, and it produces a better smoke profile on everything you cook inside this grill. On the front door of the grill we have a heavy duty cool touch grill handle and a 3-inch Tell-Tru analog thermometer for keeping an eyeball on the temperature inside this smoker. Everything in the entire cooking chamber on this grill is made of 3/16 inch steel. This is a really heavy grill. This thing weighs in at 445 pounds. For those of you who have been following me for any length of time, you know I'm a huge fan of the Fireboard controller. I've been using Fireboard to run my Kamado grills probably ever since the Fireboard was first introduced. I've had all 3 models of it, and now I'm really pleased that the Fireboard controller is the heart and soul behind this pellet smoker, simply because I'm already familiar with how to use it. This thing offers a lot of cool functionality on this grill. The temperature probe I showed you inside is permanently connected to this Fireboard, but underneath the front of the Fireboard there are 6 probe ports, and this one comes with 2 meat probes that you can use. And right here on the side, just above the controller, we have a swinging probe port that you can open up and run your temperature probes right into the side here without having to run them through the door. So when your Lone Star arrives, it's going to arrive on a truck like this. It may be shorter, may be longer, but it's going to be a large truck. And the driver on my truck unloaded mine. He put it on my driveway and just set it down on my driveway where I asked him to set it. So it wasn't my driveway's flat. Your mileage may vary. I don't know what the various drivers will do, but this is the shipping crate that this particular grill arrived in. The crate, the shipping container, is built around the grill. So what I did was I just knocked the sides off of this. I knocked one of the sides off first so I could have a peek inside the crate to see what's going on in there. And it's built onto a pallet with wheel runner wells, where this thing is really solid in there. It's not going to move. I doubt you're ever going to see any shipping damage on a system like this. So I knocked the rest of the sides off. I took the plastic packing material off. I cut the bands loose that were holding it to the pallet. And then there's a couple of 2x4s in here on both sides of the wheels. I just knocked those guys loose. And when I had it down like this, I could roll this guy right off onto my driveway, and then it's free to go. And as you can see here, just like I said earlier, it's fully assembled with the exception of the exhaust stack that has to be bolted onto the side. And that exhaust stack it was on the bottom shelf of the grill in the shipping crate. So I employed my father-in-law to help me move this around through the yard onto my back deck, and from that point, this thing was absolutely ready to go. I want to speak a few more moments on the fireboard controller. The fireboard controller on this grill allows you to select grilling and smoking temperatures from 160 degrees Fahrenheit on the low side up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit on the high side. And for low and slow smoking and even hot roasting, that's perfect. That gives me all the functionality I need in an oven like this. And when you move that sear plate cover off of the heat shield down there where you can get some direct flame access, you're going to get a significantly hotter temperature right above those openings for direct searing and grilling. And I'm going to be making a lot of video content on this grill during the next year, so I want you to stay tuned, and we'll be doing some of that. So another interesting feature that the fireboard gives this grill is there's a cold smoke function. I have only played with it once so far, and I haven't fully gotten the hang of it, but what it does is it fills the firebox up about 3/4 full with pellets, and then it ignites them, and then it just lets them smolder, and it produces cold smoke for some period of time during that process. It also, the fireboard system also gives you the ability, if you're not happy with the temperature difference that you're showing on your fireboard compared to the tell-true thermometer up front, the fireboard gives you the ability to create an offset there where those temperatures match up to whatever you would like them to be. I haven't played with that offset on mine yet. The first few times I fired this grill up, I noticed that my tell-true thermometer up front was reading about 20 degrees lower than my fireboard reading over on the right-hand side of the grill. And for me, that's not enough of a temperature variation to make a change. So I didn't make a change, but yesterday when I fired this grill up again, as I've done a lot of pre-testing before making this video, the two thermometers were pretty close to each other, so I would suggest not tweaking that right off the bat and just play with it and see what happens. Another cool feature the fireboard gives you on this grill is if you don't want that right-hand side cooking chamber thermometer probe that I showed you to be your control point for the fireboard, you can connect one of the external probes to that, and you can designate that probe as the control point. You can put that probe anywhere on a cooking grate inside your grill and designate that as the control point. So you really have a lot of flexibility with this smoker as to how you want to control your temperature. If you want to be precision oriented, you know, you can you've got a lot of flexibility with that. I'm very impressed with all that feature and all that functionality. And as with any other fireboard, you get a nice graph control. You get to see the graphs of the temperature inside the grill, the graphs of the meat probes that you may have connected. It also shows you a graph of the auger activity. If you're familiar with the fireboard in the past, it shows you fan activity in the drive mode to when the fan's running. This one does the same thing, but it shows you auger activity, so you can see how fast your auger's running in any different configuration. Like I said, I've fired this smoker up probably 5 or 6 times over the last couple of days, trying to get a feel for it and trying to get an idea of its personality. That's something I always like to do with a new grill or smoker. And one of the things that I've noticed right off the bat is the smoke that this thing produces. When I fire this thing up at 225 degrees, it is producing an incredible amount of beautiful blue smoke during that cook. And so far I've run this thing up to 450, and I am getting visible smoke at 450 on this thing also, which is surprising because a lot of the pellet grills I've had in the past, the higher up the temperature scale you go, the less smoke you get. I may be getting a little less smoke, but I'm getting visible smoke from this smoker all the way through the temperature range, which impresses me because I don't see that on the other two pellet smokers I've got in-house right now. One of them, I don't see any smoke at that end of the temperature range, and the other one, I have to add the wood chunks to the smoker box during that phase to get visible smoke at that. So this guy is producing some serious smoke. I'm very impressed with that part of it so far. So this video is what I call my walk around feature demo. I want to show you the features of this smoker and what it has to offer. And if you have any questions, or if I've left something out here, leave me a comment and let me know, and I will respond. I'll give you the answers as best I can to any questions about what we've seen here so far. And in the meantime, stay tuned, because I'm going to be doing a lot of cooking videos on this smoker over the next year. For total transparency, this smoker was provided to me by Lone Star Grillz, and in exchange for doing quite a bit of video content on YouTube and Facebook for this. So I have been provided with this smoker, or I actually reached out to Lone Star on this, and I'm very fortunate that they're allowing me to work with them. So you're going to see a lot from me on this smoker over the next couple of years. So stay tuned, and if there's anything you'd like to see done on it, or any more information you'd like to know about it, let me know. So until next time, this is John Setzler with Man Cave Meals.